Welcome to Real Life Matters TV, and I am Sweet the Boss. And today, I am so privileged to have somebody as a part of Black History, and this week is Democracy Week 2016. It's considered Colored Black People Week for last week and stuff like that. So I have here a very honored guest in my studio today, and and he's going to tell us a story, and I want everybody to really pay attention to what this gentleman is saying. And it's no other than John Artis, and he's from Virginia, and he's going to tell us a bit about it. So welcome to Real Life Matters TV.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Can you tell everybody where you're from in the States so we can prop up the people there?
Okay, I'm from Virginia, from a city called Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, everybody.
Portsmouth, Virginia, which is 17 miles from Virginia Beach.
That's a nice place.
Yes, it is.
All right. And John Artis, can you tell us your story a little bit? Who was John Artis?
Okay, John Artis was a young kid who was really goal-oriented in his youth. In his youth, yeah.
You're still our youth. You're matured. You're just you. You're still.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I grew up in segregation. My parents left Virginia because of segregation, and we went to New Jersey. And in New Jersey, I was afforded the opportunities that I didn't have in Virginia, and I tried to take full advantage of it. My family wasn't rich. I dreamed of going to university.
And what did you want to do in university?
I wanted to study actually to become a physical education teacher.
Wow, that's a good thing.
Okay. And I found out once I got to high school that I had some athletic ability, I had some speed. I became a track star. I ran hurdles.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, and I won a scholarship.
You won a scholarship too?
I won a scholarship prior to graduation. I rewrote the record books in my school.
You rewrote the record books, so you made records?
No, not records that you listen to.
Right.
But
I mean the records.
The books, yeah.
Yes.
And it was 10 years before anybody broke one.
Wow.
I was that far ahead of my time.
So you're like a Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Back in your time.
Of 64, yeah.
Yeah, in 64. That's great.
Yeah. So,
but can you tell us, so what happened?
Well, what happened was my mother passed away 1 month after I graduated high school.
Oh.
So I lost a lot of ambition and motivation at that point, and I'm an only child, so I said,
the only child?
I'm the only child.
For a black family, that's pretty, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they tried, but I'm the only one that made it. They didn't think I was going to live, but I did. I was delivered at home by a midwife.
Okay.
So I stayed with my dad for 2 years.
Okay.
And when I felt that he was able to go on being alone, because it was just the three of us all along,
okay,
I decided to contact the schools and get the wheels in motion. So you're
still in Virginia at the time?
No, I was in New Jersey.
You moved to New Jersey now. Yeah, so now you're in New Jersey.
I'm in New Jersey. I moved to New Jersey in 1954.
Okay.
Okay, so it's now 1964. I graduated high school, and in 1966, I'm ready to go to school now. My head is straight. My dad's okay.
Okay.
And one night I happened to be at a friend's house, and in comes this little guy that I didn't know, but I was introduced to. His name was Rubin Hurricane Carter.
Rubin Hurricane Carter.
Yeah, so I was introduced to him like, wow, he's the #1 middleweight contender in the world.
Wow.
But I'm not really impressed because he didn't run track.
He did a different kind of athletics, but not yours.
I wasn't into boxing. To protect myself, yeah, but not as a sport. And a couple of weeks later, I saw him while I was on my way to a favorite club in Patterson.
Okay.
And I solicited a ride. Hey, give me a ride up there. So he did. So my passion was dancing. I just love.
I like dancing too.
To dance. I dance all night long.
Yeah, I suppose you dance really well because you did that track good.
Well, yeah, I had an Uncle Dean that taught me how to dance, and he said, no matter how well you do it or how you do it, just be smooth.
Be smooth? I guess you were smooth.
I was seriously smooth. And as a track person and running hurdles,
right.
I was as loose as a goose. But And at the conclusion of the night,
Right.
I was ready to go home. And when I saw Rubin, I said, "Look,
Can you drop me home?
can I get a ride home?" So he says, "Yeah, I'll give you a ride home."
Okay.
He says, "But if I'm gonna take you home, you're gonna have to drive." I said, "Okay." He says, "You have a license?" I said, "Sure I do." He said, "You've been drinking?" I said, "No, I haven't."
Okay.
He says, "Okay, well, here are the keys." A friend of his said, "Rube, I need a ride home too." So Reuben said, "Well, come on, I'm gonna take this guy home."
Was that his car though?
It's his car. It was
He had a nice car?
well, it was his expense car.
Oh.
You know, he had a Caddy convertible with his name emblazoned on his side.
Excuse me.
Hurricane, you know, that was his show-off car.
So that you drove that?
No, I drove the white car, which was a Dodge.
Oh, okay.
That was his expense car that he drove around that he didn't want to get banged up by other people in the city.
Okay.
And he
like
drove
his hoopty.
His hoopty, exactly.
That's a hoopty, is an old car like you can get your water bill.
Yeah.
It's hoopty. So people don't know what a hoopty is. A hoopty is a car that you have. You don't want everybody to know you have a real car. You just kind of drive that around.
Yeah.
It gets you from A to B car.
But it's new.
But it's new, but it's good.
So he said, well, I have one errand to run. Take me to my house because I want to pick up some more cash. I said, okay, sure. But where do you live? So he told me. En route, we were stopped by some police. And they came up to the car, you know, with their hands on their guns and stuff. And we were looking at them like, what's going on? I wasn't speeding, so why you stop me?
Right.
And he looked in and said, we're looking for 2 Negroes. And Reuben looked up and said, well, any 2 Negroes are due? And the officer said, oh, hey, champ, I didn't know that was you. I said, no, we're just looking for 2 Negroes, you know. But there's 3 of us in the car.
There's 3, so they're looking for 2, but there's 3 of you guys in the car.
He said, okay. And he said, well, you know, have a good night. Take it easy now, and that kind of stuff. So we leave. When we go to Reuben's house, he ran upstairs for a few minutes. He came back down. He got in the car. So I asked the other guy, I said, where you live at, man? So he tells me.
Right.
And I said, all right, well, I'll take you home first because I live a little further, you know, south of where you are. So I'll take you home first. So I did. I dropped him off. I'm a block from where I'm going. I live. And the intersection fills up with police officers.
What?
Police cars, yeah. And
so what is it, just you in the
no,
car
it's
now?
me and Rube now.
Okay, Reuben Carnival, heavyweight.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
yeah. So the same officer walks up to the car and said, well, what are you stopping us for now? You know, and his sergeant walked over and he said something to him and left. But he didn't tell that officer that he had already stopped us once before and there were 3 of us in the car.
Okay.
So his supervisor, this sergeant, tells me to follow this car. I said, which one? So there was a bunch of cars pulling. I get in here, so I did. And they're riding down the street with the officers in the front leaning out the window pointing their shotgun at the car.
Not telling you what you're being pulled over for, nothing.
No, nothing.
Wow.
And the officer behind us leaning out with his pistol drawn, pointing at our car. And I'm like, something's wrong here.
Right.
You know, so they take us to this area, and when we get to the corner, there's a group of people out there, crowd, literally, and we pull up and they make us stop. I'm like, well, what's going on now? Stay in the car. So we stay in the car. Then they say, get out of the car. We got out of the car. They go stand by the wall. We did. They searching Reuben's car, and I'm looking, and then right by this door, they bring out a body.
A body?
A body on a gurney, yeah. It was a bar where someone had gone in there and, for whatever reason, shot 4 people and killed 2 of them immediately and wounded 2.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm like, uh-oh. This is not a good setting. So then the patrol wagon, or what we call a paddy wagon.
Paddy wagon,
yeah. Paddy wagon. They throw us in that and they take us to police headquarters. We're there about 15 minutes and then they take us out of police headquarters and to the hospital. And they make us stand by this gentleman who's laying on the gurney in the emergency room who had been shot in the head and in his temple, but the bullet must have hit a bone or something, but it came out of his eye. And they're asking him, are these the 2 men who shot you? And that's the first time we had an inkling of anything going on.
Because you didn't know nothing. They didn't tell you nothing. They just bring you to a scene.
Just took us to the scene, took us to police headquarters, took it to this hospital. You know, and the gentleman shook his head no. Well, he gave a description of two tall, light-skinned Negroes with thin, well, we were Negroes back
Yes.
then. You know, when I was born, I was colored. Now we're Negroes. So he said two tall, light-skinned Negroes with thin pencil mustaches. Well, I don't shave today. This is as much as I've been able to get in 69 years. I don't shave. So at 19, I don't have any hair on my face.
Right.
You know, look like my lip was dirty. That's all it did because of the fuzz. You know, and they made us to give this gentleman, I don't know what they made Rubin stand on my left, then he made us back up and switch sides and had Rubin on my right and asked the same question twice. And the gentleman still shook his head in the negative. And they took us back to police headquarters and questioned us for 17 nonstop hours and gave us a lie detector test, which we passed, and then allowed us to leave and telling us not to leave town. And between June of 1966 and October of 1966, we testified before a grand jury.
But you didn't do nothing.
Didn't do a thing.
And you're in front of a grand jury.
We were testifying before them. The whole time we're there being questioned, they're constantly telling me, look, just say that Carter shot these people and we'll let you go.
Excuse me.
Yeah, because I was well known
Right.
as a high school star
Yeah.
in the city. So just say that Rubin Carter's the one that shot these people and we'll let you go. You know, that kind of thing. And then clear this dark cloud gray cloud from over your head and tell us what you know. I said, well, I don't know anything, so I don't have any gray cloud to
Because they couldn't find anybody.
No.
And those people that are probably looking for, they're probably well gone wherever they are.
I'll give you that little scenario. This officer said that he was going from south to north to respond to the scene of a shooting. And a car passed him going from west to east at a high rate of speed. And instead of getting in behind that car, he continued north and circled around to the east to head this car off. Although it went right across in front of him when he was coming.
And those probably were the real criminals.
They were the real criminals. And then when he couldn't find them after he had gone east, in his route coming back to the city, he see us cross the street, and that's why he stopped us. But anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, so what happened to you?
Well, on the eve of my 20th birthday, I was arrested.
Wow.
And charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of atrocious assault and battery with intent to kill. And in 1967, I went on trial for my life because they were seeking the death penalty.
When you were not accused of doing anything, so what happened? Did the guy actually say you did it?
No, no one ever said I did.
So they just came in contact and just say, okay, I'm going to convict you of, you're the only one.
Well, they had 2 criminals who happened to be in the crowd at that time that they brought us to the scene. And one of them, they were pulling a breaking and entering job up the street, and the other guy was the lookout. And this guy who was the lookout said that he had run out of cigarettes, so he came down to this bar where these people were shot, and he said he heard noises that he thought was a band, so he kept walking. And when he got almost to the corner, he saw 2 black men that he thought were detectives coming around the corner laughing and talking loudly, swinging weapons. When he got within about 10 to 15 feet of them, he realized that they weren't detectives, so he turned around and ran a distance that was measured off to be 120 yards.
Wow.
Now, the fastest I've ever run in my life is 9.7 of a second in 100 yards.
Okay.
Okay? And this guy was fat, overweight, and had on Cuban heel boots.
There's no... You ain't running too far with those.
No, nowhere. And over an uneven pavement where the trees have pushed up through the sidewalk. So, and then he says he escaped by running into this driveway that was, he thought was an alley, but it was a 4-car truck garage. You could enter the garage, but there was no exits. Open front. And they got arrested, and they were in jail. So they contacted the Patterson police and told them that we know who committed that crime at the Lafayette Bar and Grill murders. And they said, who? And they said, well, you had the two guys. So from that and that alone, they arrested Rubin and they arrested me. They arrested me first because they felt that I was a weak link.
The weakest link to...
The weakest link, yeah. Because I wouldn't capitulate to them to lie for them and say that Rubin Carter did something that he didn't do, that I didn't do, and I had no knowledge of who did, but I wasn't going to lie on somebody just to save my own tail.
You're right.
I wasn't going to do that, especially, you know, my parents always told me, you don't lie to me.
That's right.
Don't lie to me. You know, you tell me the truth and we'll work from there, but don't ever lie to me. So no need to lie to these police. You know, especially coming from segregation, dealing with police. You know, no, I don't want any problems. I had no record. I had never been arrested. I'd never been in trouble in my life. I was an honor roll student and a track star. You know, I played football, I played basketball, I started football, I started track, but I preferred track.
And then all your dreams are just trashed because of just because of this one. So how did you feel though? You know, like your whole life is the carpet just pulled right under you for something you didn't do. Then you're gonna go. Then they wanted to put you on death row.
Yeah.
Like how did you? What did that say to you, Artis? What did that? You know, what was deep in that time? You must have been a lot of bitter. You must.
I was so angry. You could have broken an egg and fried it on me. I was just that angry. I was really.
So were you in solitude? Did they have you? Where were you locked away? Like with
No,
other
they
people?
put
Because
you-
other
yeah.
people probably.
Yeah, they put you in. Well, when I was convicted, I went to a maximum security prison. My cell was a concrete and steel cage that was 6 feet wide, 7 feet long, and 7 feet tall. That was my cell. That's you know.
And where were you locked away in?
I was locked in Trenton, New Jersey. I was locked in Rahway, New Jersey. I ultimately
And
ended
how long did you stay in there?
in prison.
Yeah,
15 years.
that's a long time.
15 years with two 6-week trials. The first trial, it took the jury 4 hours to come back with a verdict. And the second trial, it only took them 3 hours to come back with a verdict.
And what happened to the other guy, the one that you went to jail? Was he in prison
Rubin?
too? Rubin?
Oh, well, yeah, yeah, we both were convicted
So was he in the same jail with you?
at different times.
Because you all couldn't really come together.
Well, we went there together, but then they were suggesting, because of my age and inexperience of being in the judicial system, that I should go to a certain prison, which was Rahway, because it had more younger guys there.
Okay.
And it wasn't quite as dangerous as the oldest prison in New Jersey, which is Trenton. Trenton is a very
So who represented you?
Raymond Brown represented us.
Yes. The two of you with the same lawyer.
Yeah, well, and he got another attorney named Arnold Stein to represent me because he needed two.
Okay.
But Ray was the chief lawyer for the NAACP defense team.
Okay.
So he's the one who represented us. And the trial lasted for 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Okay. So you were there in prison. What is your family knew people came to see you there, or nobody? What happened? Did you have relatives come to see? Well, did anybody advocate? Say, listen, this was not what was happening.
Oh, people in the street told him that they were like, because of Rubin's reputation, said Rubin Carter maybe, but John Artis no, definitely not. That kid. If you want to find that kid, you know, if it's on Sunday. His church is New Christian Missionary Baptist Church. He's in there on Sunday. My mother ensured that. And depending on the time of year, whatever sport was in season, you could find me either on a court or on a field.
See, I never felt, you see how innocent people get. You just did a car that day. Somebody just profiled you. card, you know, it was like, oh, well, yeah, I think he fits the profile.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even your profile. And the profile they're talking about, too light skin. You're brown. You're not light. So
Yeah.
what?
But
so
Ruben is totally dark
a
skin.
dark skin. They have, and some people can't. Oh, maybe they're saying, oh, all black people look like. No, it's not. They have to get the right thing the right way.
But they believe that.
It's not.
You watch the news, right?
Yeah.
You see, even today, right here in Canada,
Yes.
in Toronto, a crime is committed by a person of color. They say it's a black male.
Right.
With a medium complexion.
Yeah. So what's that mean?
Yeah, exactly. What does that mean?
What's that mean?
What that means is every male who's a male of color is a suspect.
Yeah.
Because,
and then, but you know how they do the news too. If it's a black person, people on the news know right away it's some black people they're looking for.
Right.
But if it's not, oh, it's a brown person.
Yeah.
But if it's anybody else of any other race, then right away you you assume it has to be a white person if they're not really saying the race.
Right.
But right away they say it. But like, what does that mean? Like we all look different complexion, different shades, but we're all considered in the black race.
That cover umbrella.
And then a lot of us are mixed with different things too. So what is that? How does that profile you? But the thing that I listen to the story and I listen to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Light skin, that's not you.
No.
That's not Rubin Carter either. That's not him.
No.
That's not him at all.
No.
So how are they getting misrepresented? They don't, you don't know your colors, or you know what I mean. You're wondering.
They have no concept.
Or maybe they don't have no concept of what is a light-skinned person.
No.
Versus, we're all come in different shades.
Right.
And different. Even your siblings, we're all not the same shade, and we're not the same. Oh, you're a little bit lighter, or you're a little bit this, and sometimes it's hard to really classify us.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you were in there for 15 years.
Yeah.
So how did you get out?
Well, I became eligible for parole after 15 years.
So they sentenced you to 15 years, but first you were going on death row.
No, I was okay. In a first degree murder case.
Right.
It's the only time that the jury passes on the sentence. The judge doesn't do it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So when the jury foreman found us guilty on it was 3 counts. On count 1, on count 2, and count 3. We, the jury, find the defendants Rubin Carter and John Artis guilty of murder in the first degree with a recommendation for mercy. That sentenced me to life. It was just up to the judge, how was I going to serve 3 life terms?
So they gave you 15 years.
Well, they ran all of my life terms concurrently.
Okay.
He sentenced me, but he ran them all concurrent. For Rubin, the judge said to Rubin that it was his duty to society and to the bench to see that he never, ever walked the streets of society again. So he sentenced Rubin to consecutive life terms, which means that if Rubin had lived, he would still be in there.
Oh my gosh.
Because he would serve 1 life term, they would parole him from that life term to the next one, and he would start.
So you did your whole term, and you got out.
I got out.
But you didn't do anything.
No.
So that's still on your record that you were there?
No. Oh, of course.
That's been expunged.
Oh, well.
Has it or no?
Ultimately,
okay.
we won. We took it from state courts. Actually, it was
when you got out. This is when you started that process to go.
Yeah. Well, when I got out, Rubin was still in.
Okay.
So the fighting system didn't cease. See, we had 5 law firms and 2 law schools assisting us after we were convicted.
You hear people, 5 law firms
Yeah.
and 3 law schools.
2 law schools.
2 law schools. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Involved.
Yeah.
And
still, we only won by the skin of our teeth. We had 40 appeals and 2 6-week trials.
did you get any money or anything from this? They didn't.
That's the tragedy.
Your whole life
That's
was
the tragedy.
taken from you. 15 years of your life, and you didn't do nothing.
Right.
It's almost hard for you to trust people. Trust, or now today you must be like, no, I'm not getting no car. I'm not getting, and you may be laughing and stuff, but it's not really a laughing thing because a lot of people take people, okay, can you drop me home? And look, what if something like that happened to somebody and how many people has that happened to?
Many. A lot of innocent people just happen to be in the
Wrong
place
the
at the
wrong
wrong
car,
time. Right.
wrong profiling description.
Right. And we can like we're talking about this,
Yeah.
stereotyping of blacks.
Yeah.
Like saying black. I'm not black as
Yeah.
you know.
We're human beings.
I'm an Afro-American, but I'm not black.
Right.
Black means something totally different to me.
Right.
Than it does to some person who's a non.
So you did 15 years.
Yeah.
People, this is Real Life Matters TV. 15 years for doing nothing.
Right.
Getting in a car and just getting a ride home like you were at a party.
Right.
You didn't get to meet no women there.
Oh no. No.
Did you have pen pals or anybody writing you and saying we felt sorry for you?
No.
Or people from your high school coming to see you?
Initially, in the beginning, way
because
back
then
in
after
the beginning.
they just drop you off
After
and just say
that,
forget it.
out of sight, out of mind. The only person that came to visit me on the regular was my father.
And he believed you that nothing happened?
He asked me one time, "Did you have anything to do with this?" And I said, "No, Daddy." And he never asked me again. He never asked me
Did he
again.
fight for you out there, or was he just like he didn't know what to do?
Well, my dad was a proud man.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to hold his head up high with me being in prison, being accused of this heinous crime.
So you were in your 30s when you came out?
I was 35 years old. I was arrested the eve before my 20th birthday. So my
Imagine you being arrested before your birthday and you don't come out till you're 35.
I was booked on my birthday.
Wow.
I was booked. I was given the 3 counts of first degree murder and one.
So you couldn't even experience. So when you came out at 35, did you want to get married or did you think about it?
I got married while I was in the institution.
Oh, so you met somebody?
I met somebody, yeah.
Oh, how did they meet? How did that happen?
Oh God.
How did that? I know it's a bad thing, but I want to know.
I met her at my second trial.
At your second trial?
I met her.
So how did you do? Go hey or?
Yeah, hey, I met her the last day of my second trial.
The last day of your second trial.
With the jury deliberating. As soon as I met her, I was found guilty again, and we had to go back to prison.
And how did you present that to the person?
Well, she attended the trial every day.
So, but she believed you that you didn't do anything.
Oh yeah, she was convinced of that.
Okay.
Because there was no evidence.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, there was no motive in the first trial, but in the second trial, they came up with a racial revenge motive, that because a white man had killed a black man earlier in the day or that day, that Rubin and I just took it upon our shoulders and to support the entire black race and go off and just kill some white people, throw away.
Oh my God.
Throw away a very profitable boxing career and throw away my scholarship. Just throw that away because somebody that got killed that we didn't even know. That guy, by the way, who killed that black man, only got 10 years.
So they did find the person.
Oh, that killed the black man.
Okay.
But not for us. They put it because it was
They just wanted to close the case and just get it over with.
Yeah, and they wanted to send us to the electric chair.
Wow.
And
you got all your hair on your head, people, like you were, and then they found somebody, that's God,
No, they didn't find. They didn't find
him. No, but you found somebody to love you.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. And
even in that situation, you found somebody to love you, because that must be hard. You tell somebody, well, I'm convicted for murdering 3 people, but I didn't do it.
Well, she knew.
But she knew.
Yeah, because she was in the courtroom every day. Okay, and then over the course of the next 5 years,
she wrote you. She came and seen you.
She came to visit me. We wrote stuff like that, and then in 1971 we had a riot in Rahway, New Jersey, and they had taken some guards hostage.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, we had.
You were convicted of any of that, right?
No,
you weren't involved.
I wasn't part of that. My involvement was when they were talking about either letting these men go or killing them. That's when I stepped in. I said, there's no need to kill these men. They're just doing a job.
Right.
But when we looked out the window, the parking lot was like an ant colony. There were National Guard tanks.
Oh my
You know,
God!
half tracks with 50 machine gun, 50 caliber
They
machine
want to blow up the
gun.
whole jail or something.
Or they were gonna come in there.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
they were gonna, yeah.
So what did you do? You just, like when these, you hear things, but you just kind of imagine yourself inside that kind of. What do you do? You hiding or just staying in your cell?
No,
or?
I just stayed. I stayed on the outskirts. I've never been a group person, and
Okay, you just stayed to yourself.
I'm watching what's going on. I'm listening. But when I heard that, I says the only thing that's keeping those people out there from coming in here with their guns and killing us are these men. And you're talking about killing them? No. So I let them go. I took them.
You told them.
I told the guys, I'm taking these people. I took them and I let them go. So for that, the Department of Corrections in New Jersey, they couldn't let me go home, but they gave me all of the amenities that I could possibly get, like being sent to an honor camp from behind.
You see?
Behind maximum security. I was able to enroll in a college program. I left the prison every day.
For you letting those 3 men go when the jail was getting ambushed.
Right.
And look how God used you.
Yes. And I got a college degree.
And you could go get your college degree.
On campus.
You don't think God was in that?
Oh, I know he was in that.
He got to be in that.
If it wasn't for God, I'd be dead.
I know.
I'll tell you the honest God truth now. If it wasn't for God, I'd be dead.
He worked a purpose out.
Yeah.
And you know the purpose he worked out?
Well, I guess it's...
John Artis, you did that. And God using you today.
Yes.
To tell that story. And you don't see God in it, but God's in it.
Oh yeah.
Your life, you're telling this thing. And it's not a fable. This is real.
Yeah.
And this is something that God, maybe at the time you were like, really, what is this? But look at today, you can speak and tell people you went to jail for nothing. Mm-hmm. And how many other people in the world went to jail for nothing, and still today it's happening.
Yeah.
And got married.
Yeah.
And met somebody. Do you have any kids?
No.
Okay, that's all right.
Unfortunately,
Well, unfortunately, but it's not unfortunately because God worked it out.
Yeah. Well, I've been working with juveniles for 30 years in group homes, residential psych centers, residential schools, and detention centers. That's what I've been doing.
And you go into these places.
Yeah, I work there. That's my job.
It's your job.
Yeah, I go.
You've been in there, and now he goes there.
I go in there.
That's remarkable.
I go in there, and then I tell these kids,
get your act together.
Get it together.
Don't be riding with everybody you should be riding with.
No, gangster life is a dead end street.
It's a dead end, and you have to be. And you weren't even a gangster.
No.
You were just taking someone, you a celebrity. This is what I'm telling you. People, celebrities, entertainers, people got to hear what you're saying, because people get in people's car. I want to be a part of that. And sometimes it's not good to be a part of things because you don't know what's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
And you hear all these shootouts at these clubs, different things, different celebrities. I'm not mentioning their names. I don't want to come at me, allegedly, But, you might just say, okay, I want to get a lift home. And then here you are, you're pulled up, somebody just pulls over, there's something happened, and then you're in jail.
Yeah. And I don't know, like kids I've worked with in detention, they can get a gun as easily as we can walk into a store and buy a pack of cigarettes or a shirt or a pair of pants. They would say to me, Mr. Artis,
And all these stabbings today, and people killing people just for no reason, or they're high or something.
Yeah.
And then they'll see you, and you'll make a difference. I mean, I was just one of those people that the guy said I had a driver's license. I didn't drink. This is like, even if you have somebody that's a designated driver, you just driving home, next thing you guys get pulled over.
Yeah.
And you're not even saying, oh, okay, I didn't drink anything. Oh, well, there was a murder that happened. Something happened. Boom, everybody's in the pen for what?
You're guilty by association.
You see?
You're guilty.
And you didn't even know. You just drove home that night, and that could happen to so many people.
Well, yeah. What happened to me could happen to
anybody. It could happen to me. I could be in the car.
That's right.
In the car, you're just going home. Okay, you want to drive me home? Okay. And next thing you get pulled over, you don't know
It
what's
could happen
going on.
to you walking down the street.
Just walking down the road, and you don't even know.
Sure.
And this is a living legend proof.
Yeah.
John Artis. Look what happens.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
You don't know, and that's.
And you had your education, a track star. You had a scholarship. All that was wiped away.
Yeah.
Just by associate, and maybe you were just doing a good gesture, walking down the street. You saw this person. The person sees you again. Let's go hang out.
Yeah.
Bam.
It's just that easy. It's just that easy to get caught up. you know. And when you go up against the machinery of the judiciary, they're coming out with everything that they have, and they're calling the shots, and they're the
Based on
playwrights.
whatever you're doing. Oh, you know what? Maybe my pants were a little bit down, or my shirt was a little something, and then oh yeah, you were looking like these people.
Yeah, yeah.
And then now today, there's so many people that look mixed, and they're so. How do you describe these people? How is the system going to really describe these people?
Well, they don't care
Right.
to describe. You know, they
They
don't
just want
have
to pin it on somebody, get rid of it, and just
Yeah.
move on.
They don't have to describe. See, when you get arrested and you're on trial, you're supposed to be guaranteed the premise or the theory of the presumption of innocence. But that's not true.
That's not true.
You're guilty until you can prove yourself innocent once you're sitting in a courtroom. You know, if a jury comes back and finds you not guilty, you were fortunate. But initially, you're guilty until you can prove yourself innocence. And if you don't have the proper tools like deep pockets or a really great lawyer or somebody who's really, really earnest in their
Or really got
efforts,
some good money, or
Yeah.
an influential person in the city and the community that people
Right.
know of.
right?
Other
And
than that.
to fight for you, you know, we're filling up jails. You know, how can, like in America, for instance, we're the minority race, but we're the majority in prisons. They got special prisons now just for kids who the symbolism of walking with your pants hanging down and a handkerchief hanging out of your pocket. They'll consider you as a gang member, and they'll lock you up for that. You know, and I try to convince kids, like, you know, slow money is sure money, but safe money. Get an education.
Get an education. Go do it.
Yeah,
It's better to do this. So what can people for the future expect from John Artis now? So who's John Artis that we can expect? All this information is going to be on reallifematterstv.ca website. But what can people see from people now moving forward? Because we're going to have people are going to want to call you. People are going to want to relate with you.
Okay, well, what I'm doing is because of what happened to me as a kid, as a 19-year-old, I don't want to see that happen to anyone. I get sick of turning on the TV and hearing about another youth being killed by another youth. You know, I try to get to community organizations and civic centers and such and talk to kids. And I try to illustrate the example that if you had an army and you continuously killed off the members of your army, eventually you will eradicate yourself. And that's what we're doing. This self-hatred kind of thing that we have for someone who looks similar to us has got to cease. You know, if you have difficulties with someone, that you don't need a weapon to resolve that.
Somebody every minute and whoop somebody, you can work it out.
Yeah, you know, we got to, we're nowhere near the camaraderie that our parents had when they were with Dr. Martin Luther King marching to get our civil rights. If you can just use that as an adjudication of what can be achieved when you're together, you know, and not separate or not at each other, you know, you can do massive and great things. But as long as, you know, divided, you know, together we stand, divided we fall. As long as we stay divided, we're never going to achieve anything. And I'm gonna preach that until I die. And any kid that I can help and guide him in the direction of his interests or of his talents, and just the difference between right or wrong. Kids today don't even respect their parents.
Yeah.
And that I don't understand. You know, kids calling their mother by her first name, or calling her out of her name.
Or
like,
now our other names that they don't want to say on TV.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
That's very disrespectful.
It's totally.
You know?
We have no respect. You know.
It's not. It's just coming to the point. It's not a term. But you know, I want you to come back and, you know, and on Real Life Matters TV and do like a little segment. Maybe get some people, some youths in here. You
Yeah,
can
I'd be glad to do that.
You would like to come back?
I'd be glad to do that. I do it here. I've already done it with peace builders and stuff here in Toronto so far. And I've gone to a few schools and talked to students here, primarily.
So you're coming from the States often here, or are you residing here in Canada?
Well, I haven't gone home yet.
Okay.
I mean, Rubin died 2 years ago, but
okay.
I'm, you know, I cared for him until his passing, but I'm still here doing things like with the Innocence
Well, you're going to be doing
Canada.
a lot of things.
Yeah, I'm
God has a
about.
lot of work for you to do.
Yeah, but I'm
that's
ready.
the Holy Spirit that's telling you. It's like God has a lot of work for you, and the time that you God can speed up time
Yeah,
for people. Blink, you might think, oh my gosh, 15 years. Yes, that's a long time, but now you're with the impact of your life that you're doing to people now, it's something totally different.
yeah, yeah.
And you're going to impact these people because there's a lot of youths out there I don't want to talk. Listen, I've been in jail for nothing. Oh, that's a different thing. What?
Yeah.
For murder? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And some of these people thinking it's a big stripe on their shoulder,
Oh, right,
or they're
right.
getting a tattoo about it.
Yeah.
That's not something to be getting a tattoo about.
It's nothing to be
Come
proud
on
of.
now.
isn't
Come
it?
on.
Some kids are using that as a rite of passage.
Yeah.
That's no right. I tell a kid quick, if you live to be 70 years old, you will live about 28,000 plus days. If you're already 15, you've already lived for 5,478 of those days.
And when you go to jail at that early age, that's the same age that you come out as, because
Right.
you have been in that
Exactly.
community.
Exactly.
And you have to re-educate,
Exactly.
re-establish yourself because some people don't know how to. Some guys just go back in because they can't relate. And
Right.
then it's hard for people to get hired. And, I think that if, a lot of people say, you did your time, you did your time, you did your crime. You did your crime, you did your time.
Yeah.
And, give people a chance and opportunity. Like, don't ban people from trying to get a job, because then they're going to think, well, what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Some people can hire these people. You give them opportunity. They did their crime. They did their time. They're done.
And you're supposed
And hopefully they're done.
Yeah.
If they're going back, well, hey. But if they're really, truly, they have a family, they need to, the employers need to open up that door.
Yeah. Well, all you need is somebody has to give you a break.
Yeah.
And it's already a stigma. It's already a ball and chain around you. But that's a mistake I made.
But I'm not doing it. I want to do a family. I have to support my family.
Right, but I don't have to still keep paying for it.
Right.
Because I made a mistake.
You did your crime, you did your time. You already did it already.
Exactly.
I learned. Well, some people learn, they learn, people learn, but if the ones that don't learn, okay. But, they got to look into that, because things happen. Maybe they had marijuana, maybe it was a ticket, maybe it was something, but they did their time for it, so don't, or else a lot of them, so I know a lot of people who've been in the jail, and they come out and do their own businesses. Everybody doesn't have to be a barber.
No.
Or stuff. Go back and re-educate, and you can re-educate yourself like you did in the jail.
Yeah, get a trade.
Just don't sit there being sorry for yourself. Learn how to read, learn how to do those things.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was in one of my jobs in the prison. I was a paraprofessional teacher. I taught adult basic education, and I also tutored guys to get their GEDs.
You see? And and God worked things out, even though you probably didn't know what He was doing then.
No, I really did.
But anyways, John Artis, this is, I really had a pleasure speaking with you today, and everything that, and you're going to come back.
Yeah, you're a joy to talk to, I'll tell you that. You're a joy to talk to.
Thank you. No, but I want to get the real story, because you have to see what's going on. You're just going to be sitting there going, oh, no, this happened to this man, and this is something that, and he's going to come back, and if you like it or not, oh well, he's going to come back. Because this is something real.
Yeah.
So, I want to thank you today for, coming on the show and explaining your story.
Thank you. Thank
you.
And,
and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to respond to this, and stuff like that. But anyways, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today for Real Life Matters TV, and I'm Sweet the Boss. So bye for now.
Take care.